Hello, my name is Kim E, and I would like to demonstrate you guys the create table statement and how to use check constraint in SQL. Well, this is my content, which includes the introduction of create table statement, the check constraint, and create table, which is named workstation. So first, what is create table statement? SQL has composed with three types of sublanguages, include DDL, DML, and DZL. Well, DDL stands for Data Definition Language, which includes the create table statement that is used to create table in database. And here is the syntax of create table statement that we need to contain the table name and the attributes. And we also need to define the primary key and the foreign key of the table. Okay, now let's move to the constraint. So what is constraint and what are the most common use of constraint in SQL? Well, constraint is used to set the rule and condition for the data in the table. It could be used in the create table statement or after the alter table statement. And the most common used constraints are not null constraint, unique constraint, primary key constraint, and check constraint. So what is check constraint? Check constraint is used to limit the value that in order to take place in a column of the table. And here is the syntax of check constraint, that we need to modify the type of constraint that we want to use, and then the name of the table and the name of the column that we want to check. And lastly, we have to set the condition. So now let's have a look at this task. Task 2B is needed us to create a table which is named workstation. And in order to create that table, we first need to answer these following questions, like what are the attributes of workstation table, and what are the primary key or foreign key of this workstation table. And we also need to know, is there any data type, size, or rules that we need to take into the consideration in order to create that table statement. As we can see, the task has provided us with the mentioned elements, so we need to include it in our statement too. So here is the create table of workstation look like. First, we need to mention the table name, which is workstation, and then we have to state all the attributes, which include book ID and author ID, which are all number in the size of 4 digits, and then work year, which is a 4 digits number that has a condition that it has to be in between 2019 and 2020, and work week, which is a 2 digits number which has a condition that it has to be in between 1 and 52, and another one is work hours, which is a 4 digit number with a 2 decimal point, and the condition of work hours is have to be in between 0.5 and 99.99. And we also have to mention the primary key, which include work year, work week, book ID, and author ID. And the primary key of work year and work week is defined as composite primary key of workstation table. And then another one is foreign key, which is book ID, and we have to tell the result of that foreign key, which is from book table. And lastly is another foreign key, which is author ID, that has the reference from the author. Throughout my presentation, I have mentioned the way of how to create table statements as well as how to create check constraint. which are really important for us in order to analyze and design the database. And now we have come to the end of my presentation, and thank you for your time. Goodbye.